Hey guys, welcome back to the WODdoc Project 365, episode 1748. Guys, if you're following along on YouTube, jump on over to the WODdoc.com and check out all the full-length videos that we house there. It's my pleasure to introduce you guys Coach Mike Urso. He's an independent private trainer in Boston. It's kind of funny because me and Mike went to high school together, haven't seen each other in a while.
Reconnected back in Boston,
and somehow we ended up back here. So we were having a conversation today about moving hips and symmetrical functional symmetry, symmetrical movement between how our hips move back and forth and how that could be good for us for performance reasons, for injury prevention reasons. And we started working through mobilization to kind of help with that. So I'm going to have Mike run us through that, and we're going to kind of talk about the do's and don'ts and why we would do it. So who's somebody that you would get to do this particular exercise?
I mean, I look at it from a standpoint of most all athletics happen in the reciprocal pattern of the hips. So right. We think sprinting, we think any type of
so we talk
jumping,
about reciprocal pattern. We're talking about typically our hip bones are kind of like this, if this is how they are, right? And then as we move one leg forward, one hip bone will kind of rock forward and the other one at the same time will kind of rock backwards. They kind of work like in this reciprocal.
Right. So let's, perfect timing. Boston Marathon was just, recently. We have a lot of runners who maybe work in that very small range of motion, especially distance runners. They're not going into full-on sprints where they have this gross reciprocal pattern going on. So a lot of people will lose that ability to move those two innominate bones of the pelvis separate with one another, right? So what we want to do is get into a position where we can now start to unglue or unhinge some of that stickiness that's in the pelvis.
And that happens especially in long distance runners because the gait is shortened and because you're never really hitting those full ranges of motion.
Exactly. There's no terminal hip extension a lot of times.
Yeah.
Again, so we want to be able
form.
Yeah, we want to be able to take people through that, especially in our training and our coaching, because you just want to have the ability to go there. You know that if you're not training or working in a specific range of motion and then you do end up going out of there with load, bad things can happen. So
gotcha.
We want to get into a position. So let's focus on this one. You're going to start in a quadruped position, right? And what I want you to do is basically offset.
I'm trying to figure out which way will be the best for the camera.
So what we'll have you do here is I want you to take your right arm and your right leg and you're going to step them forward just a couple inches. So let's say 5 or 6 inches, right? Perfect, right there. So now what we've done is we create this little bit of a already a reciprocal pattern. And what I want you to do from here is keep your spine in a nice steady line, drive your hips straight back, okay? And what you're going to see here is that there's a little bit of a dip down to one side, right? Yes, maybe show a couple angles.
So if I come down like such, which would be that natural way of me kind of falling into that, right? Because I want to fall into the side that is forward a little bit more.
Correct.
Right? What you're saying is that you want me to stay more straight in line.
And what we're kind of doing is here, the right hip's driving into internal rotation, right? Left hip into a little bit more external rotation. But what you're also seeing from the back here, it's hard to see from the angle, but Tim's pelvis is essentially shifting when he's posteriorly shifting his weight back. I would say turn the other direction. So like head this way. Yeah, gotcha. Same thing. So now what we're seeing is as Tim goes back, this hip is dipping downward, right?
Right.
And we're getting
because everything gets collected here. It wants to pull and tuck this hip posterior.
Right.
Like that.
So we're getting this nice reciprocal pattern of the hip, and you're going to rock in and out of that a couple times, right?
Do you hold it for a certain period of time?
I don't want to stress it by pushing it back too much. I kind of want to just dip in a little bit.
Right. So like a little
3
second, like 1, 2, 3, maybe.
And then one last cue I would add to it is your hips want to feel like they want to dip down to the right in this staggered position. Try to drive your hips straight back. So don't allow, and you'll feel you kind of run into a little bit of a wall there.
Yeah, you can't go as far.
Can't go as far. It's a little stickier. So I would do a couple reps maybe with a little bit more of the passive way, and then actively trying to keep a straight line, straight back.
So start out just kind of getting that mobilization.
Let it.
I can kind of go to the side just a little bit.
Exactly. Yep.
So you can see how like when I just kind of like naturally go back there just a little bit, I'll go to the side and I'll start to work on
tilting down to your left.
Cool. And then of course we always do a test, retest, right? So something that would work probably with this is like like a 90-90 position standing or something like that,
Yeah,
or a
even
high
like
knee raise,
or a small split squat, you know, like a
small
short split squat. Yeah.
Very cool. All right, guys. So if you're a runner, long distance runner, or anything, in the case of like where we have a continuum of that shortened range, right? We want to make sure that we're trying to hit those maximal ranges at least sometime in our training, so that way those actual ranges of motion don't become shortened and become habitual that way. So, guys, questions or comments, please post it below. I'll put Mike's information below as well. Otherwise, don't forget we are here each and every day optimizing function to optimize performance. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, brother.